Welcome to Live with K Moon. My name is Gobind, and this is your channel for grace. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video live. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and you also hit the notification bell so you get notified of when I go live and when I upload videos. And make sure if you haven't gotten on my email list that you do so. I do provide a free moon astrology guide, and I have also an awesome podcast called Channel for Grace Uncut Podcast. And we actually have our special guest today, K Moon, is actually one of the guests that I had on the podcast where we talked about the energies for the rest of 2020. So I am super excited tonight to bring this guest to you guys. And one of the things that I love about what she does and what she focuses on, because she is an astrologer, is the twin flame journey and the soulmate journey, which is something that I think is so needed in this world. But I want to welcome you, K Moon, and feel free to tell our listeners about your channel, who you are, what you do, all that good stuff, so people can get to know you.
Awesome. Will do. Thank you for having me on, Jai. I super appreciate it. My name is Kay Moon, and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. I practice tropical astrology. Jay and I talked about that on the podcast a bit, as I just find it has a lot of opportunity for both personal growth, transcendence, and transformation. So I love it as opposed to feeling bound and chained by the stars. You get a lot of free will and choice with tropical. Um, and I also do channeled messages for the Twin Flame Collective. Based on insight and information my spirit guides have provided to me about the journey, what it is, why we're here, why it hurts sometimes, and the powerful opportunities for growth and transcendence within the twin flame journey. So, a lot of people on my channel sometimes don't always know if they're a twin or if they're not a twin or if they're in a false twin, which I call ascension partner connection,
Mm.
or if they are a dealing with a soulmate. Sometimes we don't always know those things. But one of the things that's been shown to me repeatedly is that when your spiritual teacher has become love, when love is your spiritual teacher,
Mm.
um, no matter what the label is for your connection, the kind of astrology that I'm doing actually will really show you what's happening. And you'll probably find that the messages that I put out on the full and the new moon resonate, because that's really the perspective I take is around, what's happening in terms of our growth when it comes to love, both what we call divine masculine and divine feminine. We all know we are both.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm in your chat. I see Jess Lafave. Hello. Morningstar. Hello. It's so nice to see you. Sparky Timms and Pawansu. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. So I wanted to ask you a few questions for, people that are not familiar with your channel, who are kind of, seeing you for the first time here. And also, if you guys didn't know, K Moon is an amazing astrologer. But I wanted to ask you some questions about like your style, because I know you have a really unique way of approaching astrology, and you just described it a little bit. But in your words, what is astrology to you? How would you
Mm,
describe like astrology?
yeah. Back in the day, like historically speaking, both the study of astrology and the study of astronomy were one and the same. We didn't have these fun computer programs that would like
Right?
pop out what was going on in the sky for us. Like people had to do this stuff by hand.
I know. I've read books and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so glad I was not born back then." And that wasn't that many years ago.
Right? Um, but it was it was both a science and an art form that helped people really understand what energies were playing out in their lives, so that they could, know when to plant, know when to harvest, both literally and metaphorically. So since then, we went through a couple of different experiences, like the entire kind of um, onset of, the Roman Catholic Church or the Roman Church. Rome really did a lot of work to quell or kind of like separate all of let me put it a different way. Rome did a lot of work to unify the Roman kingdom under one faith and one religion. And the way they chose to do that was through Christianity. Um, and the Christian faiths didn't really love any of the kind of old ways as they're known, like understanding your connection to the divine through the stars, or anything else. It was just
Mhm.
one way. And
Mhm.
so that erasure meant that we lost some of our connection to the old ways, but it
Mm.
also meant that at that time we separated
Mhm.
the study of the movement of the planets, which is now known as astronomy. We
Mhm.
separated that from the study of the meaning of that movement, which is now known as astrology.
Mm.
Astronomy gets lots of legitimacy. Astrology does not. Both are
Yep.
sciences. Both are sciences, and both actually, they've worked in tandem for thousands of years to help people just understand their place in life, and how to work in flow with the universe and what's happening around them.
Yeah, yeah. You just reminded me of something we talked about on our podcast, which if you guys haven't heard that yet, I think it was episode 4. I can't remember. I lost track. It doesn't matter, but it just says with K Moon, and that's the one. But basically, we talked about the difference between Western astrology and Vedic astrology. And one of the things that I really love about Western astrology and why I think I have always been drawn to it, because I've always been interested in people's like psychology. Like I've always been interested in understanding like people's kind of internal processes and how their personality expresses themselves and projects itself out to the world and how they kind of interact. So to me, Western astrology and is very much more focused on who we are as people and how we can manifest like the most amazing things in our lives, and how the natal chart basically is the starting point. It's like a roadmap, but it's not like deterministic or fatalistic. And I would like to ask you a question about how do you bring in, how do you merge the concept of the twin flames or soulmate journeys and that this kind of astrology which focuses more on our psychology, our way of being, our way of expressing ourselves. I'm just curious as to how you kind of bring those two things together, because there is an aspect of like the twin flame journey or soulmate journey that kind of feels fat- fatalistic or like deterministic, and I don't know if you know what I mean, but there's something about it. It's like you either have a twin flame or you don't. Like I don't, it's this is not like my sort of specialty. And so I'm like pretend I'm like a noob that knows nothing. You know what I mean? About like the twin flame journey. So how do you bring those two things kind of together in your astrology, in your readings?
Oh, that's a good question. So many layers. It's
Oh,
really
so yeah,
rich.
I tend to go off. Stop me when you're like,
No,
okay,
that's
let me
good.
take one step at a time, Jai.
That's fantastic. I love that question. Well, I would say, um, yeah. So, just for all of our viewers who are not familiar with the term fatalistic, because it can sound like somebody's trying to kill you, like it's a fatal wound. Um, there's a branch of astrology known as fatalism, and it is talked about as where the stars determine your fate, fatalism. And deterministic, they determine your fate, right? That deterministic. But I think both of you and I spoke about on the podcast that, neither one of us actually believes that that's true. And when I really started to
Mm-hmm.
get into like lining up what I was learning as a student of astrology with both what my spiritual guides were teaching me about the meanings of the planets, they revealed a couple of things. The first thing that they revealed was that um, the one planet in everything we read astrologically that is consistently left out and is a glaring blind spot in its omission is the planet Earth.
Ooh. Sorry, that's my 2 cents. Continue.
I can't wait to hear what it is. I know you have some things to say. And so, but in the software that I use, they kept drawing my attention back to it. And they were like, find out what this symbol means, find out what this symbol means. And so I finally looked it up and I was like, oh, that's Earth. And they chimed in and they were like, every single planet has a specific meaning. What Earth's meaning is free will. It was the one place in the solar system that was created in this solar system as a place of free will, as a place of being able to explore being divine
It's like
incarnate.
magical land. Yeah. And yeah, so
Totally.
have you ever read the book called it's the Nine Dimensions, or I don't
Ooh,
remember the exact title, but it's by Barbara Handclough, who is an amazing astrologer. Like, she's written
ooh,
a lot of books in astrology, like the Chiron
not.
book. So she wrote a book about the nine dimensions, and she really describes like Earth as this amazing like vortex of where it's the only place in the universe that we can integrate the nine dimensions. And the whole point of like the journey of being a human is to like learn how to do that. Anyways, you just reminded me of that, because it's like this magical land where like people, I've heard this before, it's like people like souls covet this world or whatever, like because you
Yes,
can experience so much in the physical. And
that's
all we
right.
want to do is leave, right? All we want to do is like get out because it's too much, it's too intense. But then the truth is that magical things can happen in this realm. That comes up when you say that.
Totally. So going back to give a fuller answer to your question, I will be checking out that book, by the way. To give a fuller answer, when on planet Earth, there's this mix. There's always this mix, and it's like this in the rest of our solar system too, where there is light and there is dark. There is the energetics of balance. And I think the Hermetics call it that one of the divine laws is the gendered nature of the universe, male and female, that there's always a duality, a both and. And so
Mm.
on planet Earth, we get light and shadow, we get good and bad, we get, all the things, we get it all. But at the end of the day, between fate and free will specifically, free will is the trump card on planet Earth. And so for the twin souls, yes, the connection can certainly feel faded. Like, wow, this connection changed my entire life. It will, like any fated event will. A car
Mm-hmm.
crash, getting a disease, the
Mm-hmm.
death of a loved one, the birth of a child, many of those things are predetermined before we arrive here.
Mm-hmm.
And what's also true is how we let those things impact us, how we let those things shape us, and who we choose to become in the face of those things is a complete choice. So there
Yeah.
are some twin souls who they meet their divine counterpart and they go, oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure many of you have heard of this, seen it, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. Um,
The t-shirt.
so, um, So there's that experience that you can have. And then there are others who go, wow, this is hard. Let me just dig into why and what I can learn here. But what you do with it and what your counterpart does with it is a complete act of divine incarnate, created in the creator's image, free will.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I read, and that's how I work with the astrology. Is when you see me do my new and full moon updates, when you see me share what's happening for the twins in those updates, what you'll find is that I'll say, okay, so here's the light energy, here's the shadow energy. You get the choice. What are you going to do with
Ooh.
it? So that when you're recognizing, for example, this full moon coming in a few days, the Aries full moon,
Mm-hmm.
this full moon is conjunct Chiron.
Mm-hmm.
And that Chiron is conjunct Lilith.
Mm-hmm.
And that Lilith and Chiron and full moon are all squaring the crazy cakes going on up in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And so,
Yummy.
exactly. We'll get into what all this means in a minute, but the tension is in the air and
Mm-hmm.
it can operate like marionette strings for those who are uninitiated and blind to the energy.
Whoa,
But for
that was such a good description.
yeah.
Wow.
But once you're conscious of what's going on, you have choice.
Oh my God, I just want to clap. Yes, somebody gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's how I read for twins. I say, here's what the energy is. Here are your choices with it.
I love that. And you know what? You know what that tells me that anyone can really listen. Like you don't have to be on a twin flame journey because the to listen to, like your twin flame specific readings. I feel like it is open to everyone because let me just maybe give you a little example from my life. Like I'm in a relationship that when I first met my husband, we knew there was like a very strong connection and we didn't get together right away, but our energies just like when we found each other, and we didn't know what to do with it. We were like, should we not? Like it was weird because we were so not in a place of like, oh yeah, let's just like make it happen. Let's just get together. Like I was still in a relationship and I first needed to let go of that, and that was a very that was that la- the last relationship was like my dark night of the soul relationship. It was very karmic. It brought up so much. It was like a crash course for me to get ready to do the work, to do the light work. And I had to go through that experience in order to get to a place where I could finally like be okay. I've been there. I've done that. Like I can speak about it. And but my relationship with my husband was so different. It was so much more aligned. It was like we met each other at a place where we both felt like we were finally ready for that higher consciousness level relationship. And we both have had, dreams and downloads that we were we decided to be together in this lifetime because we both have very important work to do and it complements each other. Our work complements. And also because we've had these, epiphanies and these revelations that he came first so that he could do the work and get ready for me when I hit a certain point in my life where I was ready to go even further, like to take my light work even further. And I would never describe our relationship as twin flames, but Jason
Yeah.
from Ray of Light Tarot, he's like, you guys are totally twin flames. And he like this, he's like, no, 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 you guys, he's like, my belief is that you guys are twin flames. You just don't like the word or whatever, or like, not that we're in denial, but like I never went through those crazy sort of dynamics that you hear in twin flame relationships. And so we kind of just started up, we got together and we found each other when we were on a different level. And so I'm not like getting, I'm not like scratching the idea that maybe we are twin flames and we're together. I just don't maybe like identify with a lot of the twin flame journey things that I see, out there, because I never really had those experiences. It was almost like we were on a mission, and once we found each other, we both were ready. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that story, to give you my experience, and I don't even know why I even shared the story or what that came about.
I think it's
Um,
important though. Can I comment on it?
yes, please do. I mean, I'm curious because you're the twin flame lady.
The twin flame lady.
Tell me
Hilarious.
what you think.
Well, I've noticed something. First of all, let me just say thank you for sharing that. Second of all,
Mhm.
I will say my guides showed me a long time ago that
Ooh.
every set of twins has their own scheduled journey. There is no monolithic twin flame journey. There's no one size fits all. There's no, it's definitely a twin if you can check these boxes. It doesn't work like that. In
Right.
fact, what they showed me is that when we try to put this into check boxes, it's our old paradigm mind trying to make sense of something that has never really been experienced en masse on Earth before.
Mm,
And what we have come out of and what the twins are doing on planet Earth is they're setting us free from the enslavement paradigm of number one, abdicating our power to someone else's authority about what our connection is and isn't. Should we be with this person or not? Previously, it was parents that would say who we could be with and who we couldn't. Now it's the internet. That person's toxic, that one's a narcissist, don't be with them, don't be with this person, they're not from your tribe, they're not like you, they don't make enough money, they're not this, they're not that, right? um but all of that outer dialogue about what it should and should not be in order to have this label or have that experience, all of that is what the twins are here to wipe clean. So
ooh.
there is no one journey. In fact, I've studied people who share classic kind of heart connection things like you just shared, who don't even know the verbiage of twin flames. I've watched their interviews. Some of them are famous. There's a woman who pulled a homeless man off the street and married him, for Christ's sake.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you guys have seen
I
this
don't know why I'm
interview.
laughing. Why am I laughing?
I don't know why you guys, like, it's okay. Like she married this guy. He was completely homeless. Like he just walked up to her one day in the park and was just like, just decided to bust a move. He didn't know why. He just felt something. He was completely drawn. She didn't know why. She just felt something. She was on a trip out of town, went back to say, hey, maybe if you want to talk to me, here's my number.
Whoa.
He, you know, panhandled for all the money he could to call her, then panhandled some more for everything he could to show up in her city. And she didn't freak
Oh,
out like, oh, he's a stalker. She just felt the connection, went in her heart and
I
said, I
love
just
that.
feel like I feel something here. So I'm going to stay in my heart. They met up and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah, super powerful and profound story, but that's the power of twin soul love.
Hmm.
There's no shame in it. There's no make
Hmm.
wrong in it. There's no you shouldn't be and I shouldn't be. There's just heart love in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love
so
that.
there's no like some twins are doing stuff like that, where it's like, we're going to just show people the power of love. Other twins are
Hmm.
transmuting family dynamics and, trying to work through the difficulties of everything they were taught and lived through cellularly for generations. So there's tons of back and forth while they rewrite that. Other twins are making art together. Like they came together from out of nowhere. There's this one blogger I loved, Yana Jinton. I don't know if you guys know her. Um, but she's out in northern Sweden and she left, I think it was Gothenburg, where she was living because she just didn't feel like city life was for her. She dropped out of
Mm-hmm.
school and she just wanted to move north. And so she did. She just left and she started a blog. She said the first 2 years, it was a struggle just to keep warm every day.
Mm.
That's how cold it was. Like she's up there where the northern lights hit, and like
That
6 months
reminds
out
me
of
of
the
when
year,
I
it's
used
dark.
that reminds me when I for a whole year I lived in a cabin with no electricity and no running water in the mountains of Boulder, Colorado. That was gnarly. That was part of that last relationship.
So you do these things because your heart leads you. And so on her blog, she just, she's just making content, doing, following where her heart leads her. People are responding, all kinds of guys. Can I meet up with you? Can we connect? You're my soulmate, blah, blah, blah. Any, the thing people give you when you are a public figure. But there was one guy in particular. He never asked to meet her, but they started up a conversation. One thing led to another.
Mm.
Eventually, she asked to meet him. They
Mhm.
met, they got married. The rest is history. He works in her smithy, her jewelry smithy, making jewelry. She taught him how to make jewelry. He gave up where he lived to come be with her.
Wow.
And even that is a rewrite of some of the old paradigm around
Mhm.
love. What
Mhm.
man would give up his life completely to step into a woman's business and a woman's life?
Mhm.
That's a rewrite. And
Mhm.
so it's those kinds of things that twins are doing on planet Earth. I mean,
Mhm.
Jonna doesn't even talk about twin flames. I don't even know if she knows what it is.
Mm.
But her relationship to herself and her deep self love and her love of nature and being in full expression of that, and her relationship and connection to her counterpart, who, by the way, I mean, his name is Johan. Jonna and Johan? Come on. Are they not twins or
Whoa.
what? They even look
Yeah, that's
alike.
crazy. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. This brings up another question. Do you think that all twin flame relationships are meant to be romantic?
Oh no, did I blink out? Come
Oh,
on,
you did
Wi
for just
Fi.
a second, but you're back.
Okay, good. Okay,
Oh,
phew.
yeah, I was just asking
Thought they were
if
all
you
supposed to be
think that
romantic.
all twin flame relationships are supposed to be like romantic, because I think that's the idea that we have. Is do you think you can have a twin flame where it's not romantic relationship at all? You might even be like sisters or something.
Wow, sisters, that never occurred to me.
I mean, you
But
know?
it could happen. It's funny because I know someone who is a twin and she's a psychic and she has the ability to actually look and see when she opens up your timeline and she opens up your person's timeline, she can see if you're twins or not.
Mhm.
She's actually been married to someone not her twin for 20 years.
Mhm.
And her twin are now the best of friends. He can come stay at her house. She can go visit him.
Mhm.
There's nothing intimate going on, but it took them a good 7 or 8 years to get to that point. I
Mhm.
know. And so, yeah, there's this notion in twin flame lore in the collective that it has to go one way. Has to be physical romantic 3D union, has to be this, and this. And again, that has to be that it's part of the old enslavement, shackled paradigm where we've abdicated our power to something outside of us. And
Mhm.
we do have part of what my guide showed me, the whole journey is a restoration of our divinity. And part of that is our divine knowing, which means that no one gets to tell us for us what our connection can and can't be.
Mm.
We get to live through that and choose with our divine counterpart for ourselves. So I've read for twins who, they're very happily married. They'd like to stay married. They just have this deep connection to their twin. And so they don't want to be unmarried to their soulmate. And they're happy with that. And their twin is fine not being with them. Is the connection there? Yes. Does that mean there's stuff to work through? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But you don't,
Mhm.
there's no. Do you have to do anything? No.
Mm.
All you need to do is be on planet Earth until the day you die. That is it.
I love that because I think that in the whole twin flame kind of world, you can get a lot of toxic kind of thinking, like because you feel like it has to be a certain way. And I think for someone who has sort of watched the whole twin flame thing, and I never, like I said, I never really felt like a connection to it. And I think it's very important for people to know that it's not um is now it says my internet connection is unstable. Can you still hear me? I think we're
I
good. Okay.
I can now. Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that I keep hearing is that it's really a personal experience. Like it's really a
Mhm.
personal experience, and you get to decide how to, live your life.
You do. No one is the authority on your connection but you. Period. Full stop.
Hmm.
You can certainly get assistance from other people to understand what's going on in the connection, healing with other people to help restore more of your sovereignty and remove interference energies from past lives, this life, etc. You can do a lot of that, but those are like training wheels
Hmm.
for what is a restoration of your own divinity.
Hmm. So, why don't you tell us a little bit? I think you've told us some, but why don't you tell us more specifically what exactly is your channel about? What do you do on your channel, your YouTube
Mm,
channel?
yeah. So I do a couple of things. Let me just prepare my thing here. Let's make it concrete. I'm a very concrete learner. Um, like I need to see it in order for my brain to get it. So if you don't mind, I'll
No,
go
go ahead,
ahead
because they've been
and
staring at my
screen
face
share.
the whole time.
Okay, cool. So here's the channel for anyone who's new to me. Welcome. It's just K Moon. That's it. Nothing special. But what you'll find on the channel is I provide new moon and full moon video updates about what's going on, both for the Twin Flame Collective, but you might also find that these resonate for you if you're in a divine connection of any sort, soulmate or otherwise. Because once love is your teacher, what I'm sharing will probably be relevant. And then I do light worker energy updates. And if you're here hanging out with Jai, you're totally a light worker. um, and I do these every full moon and every new moon. So you can find them there and get a sense of kind of what the energies are for that lunation. And then the other thing I do is a set of channelings and channeled information from my spirit guides. They've given me a lot of downloads and information about the twin flame journey, what it is and what it isn't. And I don't know what it was, but when I got initiated, like my twin and I were a couple, um, and then we split, and it was the most devastating thing of my world. And then we came back together, and the whole thing. We had the kind of more classic
Hmm.
kind of thing go on. But at one of our splits, that's when all my awareness came in and it hit me like a vice. Like I literally felt like I was in some sort of jail. And I kept trying to figure out how to get out. But it wasn't until one day when I shared all the things they were telling me to help me get through it with a girlfriend of mine who happened to also be a twin, that for the first time I felt like I was out of jail and like I could breathe. And it was that day that I remember saying to my guides, okay, okay, okay. I have not been able to breathe and felt normal for at least half a year, maybe more. at this point? What if I share this with more people? Can I just stay out of jail? I can't be in that place anymore.
Mhm.
And so I began to share. And since then, like I found that a lot of the things that they told me are things that other people have been shown and told about the twin flame journey. And so I just kind of compile them in this channeled playlist. And then I'll provide, um, I have little interviews I do with people. This one is with Catherine Woodward Thomas. I did some interviews with twins who are in union, twins whose twin has crossed over to the other side. I did a Christ consciousness meditation series for people. Um, yeah, I just share anything that I can to make life easier for people, and help them understand their journey. So that's what goes on over on K Moon.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And so I wanted to have you here on the channel because we're both astrologers and we both are very passionate about also teaching astrology. I have my own course called the Aquarian astrology course where I've separated astrology, like the huge topic of astrology, into small little bits. So, and I call them modules. And so I have already put out four of these modules where I go into like the fundamentals of astrology first, and then I'll talk about the sun in astrology, and then the moon, and then we just recently did one where we talked about Mercury. And you have designed a whole astrology school as well. And if I'm correct, your focus is on sort of the astrology in relationship to these kind of twin flame journeys and soulmate journeys. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
So,
it.
can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I'm really curious to find out more about your approach to teaching astrology.
Yeah, totally. So, I've just opened up Star School, which is Star School 101 and 201, 4-week classes each on this 101 is kind of astro basics, and then 201 is astrology for twin flames. But the thing about the way I designed 101 is that it's a workshop style class. So is 201. And whether you're new to astrology or old hat, I read charts all the time. Either way, there is a workbook guide that breaks down a chart, house by house, sign by sign, planet by planet, and the meaning of each of those things that can assist you in understanding not just yourself, but also your divine counterpart. So if you're already, super familiar with your own stuff and your own stars, the 101 class sets you up to really kind of look under the hood and the way your divine counterpart is constructed. One thing that happened earlier last week, I was having a conversation with a client and she was in separation, for the second or third time with her counterpart. And I said, "Well, what was the breakdown?" She said, "Communication." And she said, we just can never communicate. Are we ever going to be able to communicate like a normal couple?"
I
So
was
I pulled,
just talking about this in the module that was focused all on Mercury, but yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I pulled up his chart, I looked at her chart, and I said to her, "Okay, I think I see the breakdown here.
Hmm.
Anytime you want to have direct conversations and you're completely objective about it. He, on the other hand, takes direct conversations as a confrontation, clams up, shuts down, and when you do have a direct conversation and get a direct answer from him, it looks like he'll say one thing and then do something completely different." She was like, "Oh my God, that's exactly what it's been like. Why does he do this? How can we overcome it? Please tell me we can fix this."
Hmm. You know what's so interesting? Such a good example of how you can really apply astrology, and I love this sort of take on it that you are, the way that you're focusing on it. Is one thing that's I think really important is that you have to be open to looking. We're so focused on looking at the astrology of the other person, and looking at like, okay, well, that's their flaws and all of this stuff, but then we have a really hard time looking at our own astrology. And I
Yes.
love that you're focusing on looking at both. That's something that I think is very much needed in the world of astrology, because to understand someone else or to try to communicate better, especially with the whole communication aspect, if you don't understand your own style of communication and their own style of communication, and you have to learn. To me, it's like, I'll say it, you have to learn all the ways that the people
Yeah.
communicate, because that's the only way you're really going to understand.
And so that's basically what I told her, Jai. I said, listen, how he is how he is. It's not fixable, it's not changeable because there's nothing wrong here. It's actually how he's built. And how
Love that.
you are is how you are. And the reason why you're getting so much shadow from him, the saying one thing, doing another thing, the clamming up, the shutting down, is because you're trying to get him to be like you, and he can't. He's not built
Boom.
like you,
Boom. I love this.
right?
Yes. Yes. Like, it's
And
so
so,
hard, but it's like you got to learn more. Like, okay, so I'm a Gemini, right? And I go, oh, this Gemini energy. And like everything I do is like, I need to know more. I have to have more information. I need to know, like, I need to know it all. Like, I'm like I don't even know how you describe it, but like, I just need all of the information. So that is something that I naturally desire to do, but not everybody sees it that way. And it's very interesting, and it's very important that, we understand what is really going on here. And so
yeah.
your school looks like will really help people kind of understand that. So that's the level one.
Yeah, that's
Mhm, mhm,
101. And just to kind of close out that story, in her case, I told her, I said, you're going to know who this man is, not by what he says, but by what he does. That's how he was constructed to communicate. You'll
ooh,
know why. You'll know why he's doing what he's doing. You'll also know what he intends to commit to and what he won't by what he's doing, not what he is saying. And that's what's written here. She was like, well, then how will I ever have a conversation? And I said,
you got to learn new ways.
that's it. That's it. And so in Star School, what we're looking at is giving you the keys to understanding yourself and the way you were built, and them and the way they were built. And that's the 101 program. In the 201 program, we go deeper and we start really looking into, okay, how do you read the divine counterparts in the sky? Tell the difference between what's happening in the collective versus what's happening in your connection. How do you understand the seasons of your connection? Because there are moments where your person is naturally going to pull back in your divine connection, and there actually won't be anything wrong. They actually won't be running. They'll be integrating the enormity of
Mhm,
the light codes and the
mhm.
love and the triggers. They'll be integrating what's going on. And if you go running after them, pulling them by the collar, wait, where'd you go? Come back. You actually add more stuff to clear instead of just allowing and being in the flow of the connection. So in 201, we go deep into like the seasonality in twin connections and how to know. We'll also talk a little bit about third party energy, which a lot of twins get really hung up on. But sometimes there's a real divine purpose for that person. That person is doing things that you could never do for your counterpart. Teach them lessons in ways that they need to learn it and can hear it, that you are not built to do so.
Mm.
And so there's a necessity sometimes for that energy. So we'll look at the comings and goings of that particular energy as well. So
Wow,
um,
that's amazing. That's
it's
a
a
that's a
fun
really amazing
class.
program. No, it's going to be really cool and very much needed. I keep hearing like you're teaching people how to be in better in relationships, like how to literally be in like more authentic, like grow, like accepting, allowing themselves to grow, and learning new ways of being in relationship, like more divine relationships. You're like describing the relationship that I have with my husband. It's like
Ah!
we will not, like, we have this sort of pact where like the growth of each of us cannot be sacrificed for the relationship.
Amen,
And
sister.
that is so important for people to learn. We get so caught up in like, I want it to be this way, I want it to be that way. And the truth is that, you know what? Like, we each individually came here for a very powerful purpose and destiny, and we each have free will. And when we choose things, if it is really truly the best thing for us, then the other person should like 100% support that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Absolutely.
it takes a higher level. And I
Of
think that
understanding
your
love.
course
Yeah.
is like a great first step towards understanding that new dynamic, you know, like breaking the codes, like you talk about, like creating new relationships. And um, you have to learn, you have to study, you have to learn the basics. I call life like our own like mystery school. Where like back in the day, you actually went to a mystery school, like the temples of
Yes.
Isis, or you know. But nowadays, it's like the wisdom is coming through the light workers and star seeds and people who are on a mission. And like, you know, if you feel called to share something, it's like, well, if you're not ready, like, well, go and study and go find the answers and put yourself in situations where you're gonna learn. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is the
Totally.
time to do that. So I wanted, before we actually talk about, because I do want to share, like if somebody wants to sign up for your school, I would love to share how they could do that. I did want to tell everybody that K Moon is going to be doing a really awesome giveaway, and giving away. I can't remember. Was it one? I can't remember if it was like one seat or two. What you told me, I can't remember. So I'm just gonna kind of like hand it over to you. So you tell them what you want to share with our Channel for Grace Soul Tribe, which is what we call it.
Okay, totally. I'm just going to link it for folks so that they
Okay.
can find their way
Yeah.
to it. If you want to come play in Star School, you can do that. And I'll just show you over here how to sign up if you want to do that. Here's my website, Kmoon. And then you just pop down here to Star School. You can click sign up now. And this will tell you everything you need to know. A lot of people have questions like, oh, is Star School recorded? Or I can't make the classes. Are you ever going to offer it again? Everything you need to know. I've actually answered a lot of the questions down here in the FAQs. How do I know if this is my twin? I'm not sure. Will you like everything is here? What time zone will this be in? So make sure you check out the FAQs. And then I am going to be doing two things actually. I am giving away two seats to Star School. I think that's what I said. If I got that wrong, then I'll circle back so you can update your community. But it's two seats to Star School via this channel.
Woohoo!
And it's not just Star School 101. I'm also going to give you Star School 201. So you'll get all the
Yes.
classes.
I love
So
that you're doing this, and I love that you thought of us and this community. I'm just really grateful for that.
my pleasure. So you'll get all 8 Star School 101 classes, all 8 Star School 201 classes, and all of the office hours completely on me, just as a way of saying thank you to my fellow astrologer and friend Jai Gopin.
Mm,
One of the things that I noticed very early on in our connection, Jai, was just how thoroughly optimistic and generous and kind-hearted you were to everyone who came along your path, like
mm,
me, Jason, your sister. Like there's just this loving kindness that you emit, Jai, that just it blows me away because it anytime, any room that you're in, there's levity, there's light, there's
mm.
a brightness that starts to come forward. Like whatever was heavy gets unheavy the minute you show up.
You're like legit making me cry.
But you know this about yourself,
No,
right?
thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's nice to hear it.
You've seen this
Yeah.
though, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. No,
okay.
people tell me this all the time. Yeah. There's A bright light. Yeah.
There's a levity, there's a lightness. And so I was just my way of saying thank you for supporting me and my channel. You've been a huge supporter for a long time. So I wanted to just return the favor and say, hey, I'd love to give away Star School to some of your subscribers. So
Love that.
the way to enter, I will show you what to do. What you need to do is find your way over to bit.ly/star school, all caps.
And
And
I
then,
actually I so while we were talking, I uploaded the description. So if you click on the description of this video, there is a link that will take you right to it. This yeah, just wanted to make sure people know that. It's now in the description of this video.
yeah. Yeah, so it's I think the fun thing about Star School is the way that there will be a large community, plenty of people that you can kind of compare notes with in the office hours, and the workshop aspect of this is going to allow you to roll up your sleeves, instead of anything that's like full on lecture. There'll be some teaching information, and there will be handouts and information for you that allows you to look at, like, fill in the blank, like Mad Lib style. Like my Venus is in this house with this sign. This means fill in the blank. And then I've got a guide for you that lays out what all the meanings are for every planet, every house, every sign, light and shadow, so that you can fill it in and start to go, oh, this is what I do when I'm triggered. Here's what the shadow energies look like.
Mhm.
And you can start to understand that for your counterparts as well. So if you want to enter the giveaway, you've got 24 hours from this live broadcast. So feel free to enter here. And then at the bottom of the page, you'll see a question that says, what have you learned from the host of the channel you found me on? So Jai does a really great job of teaching whenever she's educating, or
Mm.
whenever she's doing a reading, both when she's doing tarot or cartomancy and when she's doing astrology. Jai is constantly teaching us lessons in love and lessons in light. So I'm curious, what did you learn? What have you learned from Jai? So you got to put that in.
I love that. That's my favorite part. That's my Leo
Right?
moon talking. Go ahead, keep going.
I think it's fun, dude. I knew you had a Leo moon. The moment you got bashful when I complimented you, I was like, oh, she has a Leo moon.
I
She must have
love
a Leo moon. So yeah, that opportunity is there. And then Jai, if you want, I'm like, I've shared this with everyone. Like, if you want, I can send that over to you so you can see what people are actually learning. But
I would love, yeah, I would, of course.
okay,
I would love to know.
amazing.
Yes, that's so amazing, K Moon. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I love this. I love that, co-creating with people, other light workers and star seeds. And I love just being able to, share more knowledge with the world and have people understand astrology better. And I love that you have your own unique way of expressing it. And you know what? Like, you guys, I'm taking this class too. Like, because of my desire to learn and to want to know more and to understand and to be able to, work better and become better. Like, I want to take the class as well. So I'll be in there with you guys. So that's going to be
Oh, I
really
love
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. Because mainly, like astrologer to astrologer, you'll be able to like look and see like, oh, this lines up with how I read. This doesn't. One of the things I put in the FAQs for people, there was people, what was the question that I was getting asked about Star School? Um, Here, do you practice tropical or sidereal? Which house systems will you use?
Ooh, that's a good questions. No,
A lot
that's
of people
important.
ask that, right?
Yeah.
And so, I do tropical, which I've said
Which is
before.
what I do too, in case you guys don't really, and Placidus houses. That's what I use too. So if you watch my videos, it'll be the same kind of thing.
So, right, exactly. And so that's why I said, like, if you find the things that on my YouTube channel resonate for you, you'll find that Star School just breaks down why it resonates. And if you
Hmm.
practice a different system of astrology or a different house system, it's okay. You're still welcome to join. These courses are just going to give you an additional perspective that you might find useful.
That is why I feel like we have to learn all of it. Like I've made it a point to learn about sidereal astrology and what it means, and all of that, because I think we need to know all perspectives.
Totally, totally. So yeah, I put the link. I think I put the link in the chat for the peoples to
Hmm.
join Star School if they want. And then the link, you also put it in the description box. So yeah, you can find it there. And if you're not called to learn astrology with me, it's totally okay too. There are so many teachers on astrology, on any topic you want. Like, but the thing is to find the person who resonates for you that helps
Yes.
you do your soul growth. And if
Yes.
it's not me, no biggie. But I
Hmm.
have now shared with you how it can help you find the person that is for you. And
Mm,
you know what I'm
love it.
saying?
Love it. My next, thank you so much. And I did want to share before we kind of get going is the next module that I'm going to be doing, which probably isn't going to happen until November, because at the end of October, I am launching my book, A Circle of Stars, which is,
Yes.
yeah,
I
I know
can't
I'm
wait
so
to have you on
excited.
my channel about it.
Oh my God, oh my God, I can't wait either.
I'm
But
super excited about this book.
yes, so it'll be like a yearly journey through the Celtic and lunar wheel of cycles of the year. But the next module I'm going to be doing is focusing all on the planet Venus, and there's something
Ooh.
about that planet. Like, I can't wait for that module, and it's because of the whole aspect of relationships that that comes with it. Like, there's something so exciting about that. And so I feel like your training is really going to be really awesome, like good, awesome preparation for that module as well. So kind of
Yes.
there's a fit, there's a puzzle pieces coming together. And when the with that Venus module, I will be talking about the Venus star points, and yeah, the
Ooh.
cycles of Venus. So like I'm just like can't wait. Like I think it's all perfect, it's all meant to be, and it's all happening beautifully. So thank you so much for coming here on the channel. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for offering these two seats. So make sure that you guys enter the giveaway. And if you're like, I just want to sign up right now, the link is there in the description as well. If you want to go ahead and enroll in the course. How long is the course? I don't know if we covered that part.
Yeah.
What's the timing of it?
Yeah. So, a couple of things. I just want to mention that the first 50 people who sign up do get three special bonuses from me. The first 50 people who sign up for 101 and 201. So if you take the special savings, the discount that I have on getting both, then if you're one of the first 50 people, you'll have the opportunity to get these three things. Once class ends, is when the
That doesn't include
bonuses
the
will be
giveaway,
delivered.
right? This is for people who actually officially sign up?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing is the retrograde guide for 2021. I'll be mapping out
Ooh.
the retrogrades in 2021 and the dates and what to expect and what sign it'll be in. The second thing will be,
Just being my silly self.
I love it. I really do. The second thing will be the retrograde report. So these kind of work together. The report just maps out what every planet means when it goes retrograde and the
Wow.
impact that it can have, so that you really have a deeper understanding of how to work with retrograde energies. There's so much collective thought form around negativity when it comes to retrogrades.
Agreed.
However, I have found that when you're masterful, when you're conscious and initiated, you can actually use this energy, harness this energy to uh, really work with the divine in your life to make special changes that you really can only get during the retrograde. So that is a gift that you'll be getting if you're one of the first 50 people to sign up for both. And then the last thing, which I know the twin flames, twin soul, soulmates, divine counterparts will find interesting, is a the divine counterpart kind of schedule and itinerary for the last 30 years, the union schedule for the last 30 years and the next 30 years. So
Wow.
I read Juno and Jupiter as the divine counterparts. And so what I'll be doing is mapping out when they are in conjunction for the
Mm.
last 30 years and the next 30 years so that you can map it to the seasons and the seasonality in your connection. And for those of you new to astrology, conjunction just means they're sitting together in the sky in the same sign, similar degrees. What I have noticed in all of my work is that those moments of conjunction can actually be felt 1 year before
Mm.
and 1 year up to 1 year after. I've seen twins start to coalesce and come together during those periods of time. Um, and even twins who have known each other. So I was mapping this out as well with another twin flame friend of mine. Her and her twin have been at this for 12 years and they're not together. But every time the divine counterparts came together in the sky, there was a breakthrough in their connection. There was some type of coming together for them.
Hmm. Wow.
So
Really
um,
cool. That's amazing.
I want to
Those are
give people the
amazing
option
things.
to see, like, hey, here's when the energy is going to be really ripe. Don't sit here and not offer an apology if you guys are in separation and no communication because you refuse to apologize.
Right.
Like, use the energy to come together.
Yep. That's how you do it. It's difficult. It's challenging. We're not used to it. We've gotten used to, like, toxicity in relationships, and it's time to, like, get slowly start to tear away. Those things need to go away. We need to step into our power, and being in your power means you gotta be sometimes the responsible person. You have to be the one that steps up and opens the door, and we really won't know until we really understand ourselves. And we astrology and your natal chart is the most powerful stuff to understand yourself.
It does provide a gateway for self mastery and a
Mm-hmm.
return to your own divinity so that you're not divorced from the miracle of how you were made. And that's why I love it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no accidents in the way you're constructed. There's just choices in how to use it.
Yes, love it. Was there anything else you wanted to share?
I think that's all. Did you have any other questions?
No, I think we kind of covered everything. This was a really amazing conversation and a topic that I think is very important for people to talk about and discuss. And I also just want to say thank you for being here on the channel, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and your star school. I'm really excited. If there's anybody that's new to my channel, I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe here as well, and also make sure that you hit the notification bell. And if anybody's curious about anything that I offer, whether it's readings, a free moon astrology guide, my podcast, Channel for Grace Uncut podcast, or my online courses as well. There are links in the description to find those things. But thank you, and yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much, Jai. It was a pleasure to be with you. And I'm super pumped about this book. When you're ready, let me know so I can invite you over to my channel and we can talk about it there. Okay.
Oh, I can't wait either. Thank you so much. Yeah, and have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.